Calling to orders the board meeting for Sunset Empire Transportation District Board of Commissioners, October 24th at 10 a.m. Do the pledge of allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Might have been a minute or it might have been 30 seconds before 10, but making it up for time. Been late. Okay, Mary, would you do roll call, please?
Yes. Commissioner Smith?
Here.
Commissioner McDonald?
Yes.
Commissioner Wickie?
Yep.
Commissioner Langria? Here. Commissioner Withers?
Great.
Commissioner Reed?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Commissioner Romero is excused.
I'm gonna just put on record that his work had taken him to Pennsylvania for next week or so. Okay. Number 4 on our agenda, any changes to the agenda?
So I would like, if it's possible, I'm going to have a short stay here today. I have to wait for surgery. I'd like to go on by 11. So could we move up the OTA conference
And
agenda
Susan?
just somewhere up closer to the middle, or I don't, even if it's just first new business.
Okay,
So I could, in that first hour, I could,
we will,
because I'm trying to be there. So,
okay, we will make sure that we get to that before 11.
yeah.
Okay. Any other changes? A motion to approve. I move to approve. And a second.
Okay.
Okay, Pam seconds. Any other discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Number 5 on our agenda, public comment. There's nobody in the room, nobody on Zoom or Google Meets, I guess we're using now, so maybe we'll go to agenda item number 6, approval of September board minutes. And first, I would like to say, I really like having them numbered like that. So that's all I really have for, but I like to be able to go down and see, oh, number 5, number 7, so thank you for doing that.
Okay.
I would entertain them.
Let me say one thing about the minutes. If you wanted to talk about that, how they come out, the printed version and what needs to happen in their meeting.
Okay,
Okay.
yes,
So, in order for us to be able to, so right now, these minutes, Mary is given a transcribed version of the audio that you're receiving here. And so, number one, with that, it would be very helpful if board members would maybe perhaps go to announcing their name when they speak. It would be, or something to that extent, because that would help Mary be able to identify who is speaking. Currently, right now, with only one microphone up there, she's receiving everything, and it's just all listed underneath this computer's name, right? Number 2, ultimately down the road, it's capable to do this, but we would have to have individual mics set up with each of you, or it's some really cool way to do it is individual, like having, like what Paul's got as an iPad there. At one point, this board all had iPads. And if we all had iPads, then we would be able to speak to that iPad. You'd be able to speak normally, but your iPad would pick it up and give it in here as your name. So that's a down the road kind of thing that would be helpful. But Mary has given a printout, and that printout is not very good. I would say it's less than 70% accurate. So it almost virtually does her almost no good. And this was with the Zoom, mic array and including this one as well. I think this one's just slightly a little better, but it's still very incorrect. So it would be very helpful if there could be identification prior to any kind of speaking, but that's what we're at.
okay, now I will try to be more forceful and calling on people by their names. So no speaking until you've been called on, that would probably help.
Then each of the things that we identified.
Craig.
Oh.
Go ahead.
That's right, Craig. Another thing that would be is like when we get to the agenda items, list them before we start talking about like what number, all that.
And I know I was doing that for a short period of time a while back, and then I just kind of, so.
So reference each.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
The printout designated, only really two people, and that was Jason and Craig. It stuck with that. And it was very confusing.
Right.
So
And the reason being is because Craig had his computer or something running, so he's a part of the meeting virtually, so.
yeah.
Rebecca?
Yes, I had a question. Do you receive just a text, a written? It's right, it's written out. It's not, you're not just looking at the meeting again, the
course.
audio and visual recording.
Yes,
Do you have that available to you too?
of course.
Okay,
Um,
but the text version is kind of sketchy, huh?
yes, because it goes back and forth, and I'm talking now, and I'm gonna talk clearer, because what else happens is in the audio, I can't hear you. I can't understand what you're saying, because maybe you're looking over here or looking over here, or so it'd be nice to be just, if we just know that that microphone's that way, and if we kind of generally speak this way instead of that way. Yeah, I would have, because I can read lips too. But yeah, so just, this is a new system, and so it's different than the Zoom system.
Tracy?
I would move that we would adopt item 6 and accept minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Okay. Rebecca, did you have something else?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that some of us talk kind of quietly as they end up talking. So we just need to all talk louder.
Thank you.
Any other discussion on the minutes? Oh,
Where did our time codes go?
where did our what?
Our time codes that will used to be in the minutes.
I didn't hear
Include the
that.
times.
Hmm?
Oh, I would include the times this time.
Uh-uh.
No.
Minutes. Oh, I'm sorry. It got forgotten.
Oh, okay, all right,
I was looking at all new stuff, so I'm sorry, I forgot.
okay, that's all
I don't understand
Rebecca?
any of that. What, oh, excuse me, the time what?
time codes. Remember when Mary was trying to restructure the minutes so that they would be shorter, and we were all concerned about getting all the details that we wouldn't get if we didn't do a transcription, and we decided to put the time that equates to the audio or video recording on the minutes, so that if you wanted to look up a particular item, you could look at the minutes and it would say 10:04, and you could go to that point in the recording and get the.
And
I
this is Rebecca, responding. Mary, does that work for you?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes, I forgot it this time, I'm sorry.
She's been doing it for what, almost a year?
Yes, yeah, this is the first one I forgot, so, sorry. Just new system.
Any other discussion on the minutes? All in favor of approving minutes as written, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, we'll be moving on to number 7 on the agenda, reports from the chair and board members. Tracy, let's start with you.
I just wanted to comment off of the rural buses electrification comments. Did you see that, Craig, at all?
No.
Okay. I copied this article. You might be interested in some of the rural it starts off with a heading of most rural buses are built different and so I perused that, and other members of the board that are interested in that. So thank you. So and that's about, and again, I have eye vision issues, and we're hopefully going to remedy those by the 6th of November. So today is one of those important days.
Thank you, Tracy. Rebecca,
Updates,
updates, anything for you?
working on the policies. I think we made some good headway. Boy, participating in that is a great way to get to know the district and it opened up questions, I think, that are pertinent to us. And as a board members, of course, we always need to be looking at all the moving parts, so that we know what we're doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. Pamela?
I'm on the I'm on the board policy committee as well. And what Rebecca said is I agree with. That's it.
All right, thank you. Paul?
I have nothing.
Nothing this month? All right, thank you. And Charles?
It's 10:11 and I have nothing, Charles. We'll cover all the bases.
Overkill.
I don't know who I am.
Woo-hoo.
Have that. Nice job, Charles.
Thank you, board members.
It's gonna be hard to deal with. And hard to deal with not for the record. It's extemporaneous, is that what it is?
Thank you, Charles. I attended this is Debbie, chairperson. I attended the Northwest Act meeting.
I'm in now. Let me,
Zoom, as I had another meeting that day, so I wasn't able to go in person. Those meetings are always interesting. Arla stood up for us in part of it that was really good. There was one person that was a little bit rough still on us, I thought, and Arla stood up for us. And the whole group know where we're at, what we've been doing, how well we're doing. And I thought that was really nice. And I've also been working with the policy crew, and I think we are done at least for a few months. And so we will be going through the last of the board policies here in a few minutes. And hopefully the board will pass them and we can do our first section update in our 3-ring binders. Okay. Pamela, did you have something else?
No, I was just curious about, I am just curious about, do this, sorry, that what was the criticism and if we can, to give us ideas of how to move even more forward.
It was during the part, and you can help me, where we are asking for 2 more buses for our fixed routes. And one of the attendees asked if we were in any position, basically, and how we were doing. Did we deserve, did we have money? That type of stuff.
Did we get our act together?
Basically, did we get our act
And
together?
Arla jumped right to our defense.
Thank you.
Those meetings are not recorded and are not put back out, so everybody could see them. Otherwise, I would say, go look at it.
Isn't that?
So, okay,
Interesting to comment again. I was listening to the election series that KMUN has, and the city of Placerville has no one because of social pressures of media, not the media, but the social pressures like Facebook and all that. And nobody really wants to get involved. So I appreciate each of you for wanting to take the hard road, and because we have been bantered about in social media quite partly. I appreciate staff and board members.
thank you, Tracy. Okay, moving on to number 8 on our agenda, our financial reports. Kelly, do you have anything exciting for us?
I have a couple of things. So, good morning first.
Good morning.
On your dashboard under the OTIP line, I forgot to change the date of that. Excuse me. It should be 8/1. That was when our last payment was made. So that's updated through August. And it says May. Also in your board pack, you will notice that you do not have a credit card statement. we didn't have all of the information in for credit cards in order for it to make the pack. So I actually have them here. And they will go in next month's board pack, just so that you'll have them actually in the board pack so that they go out to the public and they're available in that aspect. We are currently working on Q1 reimbursements for 5310 and 5311. So those are due the middle of November. So I've gotten started on those. Hopefully we'll get a super fast reimbursement again, like we did last time. So it'd be pretty awesome.
We will until next year.
Until next year, yeah.
Next year's forecasting.
I had budgeted for property taxes to come in a little quicker than they have. So you'll notice that that's, you know, under budget. We did just get a deposit this week of $26,000, I think it was. So hopefully they'll start ramping up now. They usually do. I just felt like it was a little slower this year than it was last year. So hopefully that'll start coming in a little bit quicker, and we'll hit that soon there. I'm just continuing to monitor going forward our cash flow projections, you know, just making sure that we're staying on task there, especially with the information that ODOT's given us, you know, for next year. We want to make sure that we have enough funds to kind of hold us through that. Other than that, any questions for me? Charles?
1017 Charles. I was wondering, Kelly, is there a certain time of what timing do you expect the property tax to be done on a certain day or a certain quarter due date, or is it just random?
It's pretty random. So the county collects all of the property taxes and then they distribute them out to everyone that receives. And so they're quick about doing it. They get it in and it's a very quick turnaround. So we'll start to see property tax deposits.
In November.
No, we'll start seeing them probably weekly. They'll start coming in almost on a weekly basis. Really.
And traditionally, you know, budgets, I'm Craig Johnson. Traditionally in a budget cycle, we're kind of like in the drag period during the summer months through October. When you hit November and you get those property tax, your goal. So we're looking pretty good.
Any other questions for Kelly? Pamela?
This is, what I don't understand is the contractual discussions with FDA about grants. So it says will not receive funding until agreements are executed with the FDA. And I don't understand if there is an explanation.
I can explain that too.
Okay.
So ODOT has all of the transits submit their 5310, 5311 to them.
Mhm.
And then ODOT takes all that and they have to come to a contractual agreement with the FTA.
So what is the problem that this is not a surprise about contracts? What is the problem that's holding up the execution of it?
You know, I don't know the exact reason why, you know, that's, you know, like an ODOT type question. They were delayed last time and I think they have possibly some staffing issues still. And, you know, I don't know the exact reason. But it is nice that they have let us know in advance.
Right.
You know, that there is going to be a delay.
So this is delicate, but so is there a possibility that this would go higher up to resolve some of the shortage of staffing through the government and all?
That's more of an ODOT question, but, you know, all that we do, we submit our grants to ODOT and then ODOT takes all the grants that are submitted and they deal directly with the FTA and they have to sign the agreements with the FTA because they're the ones that distribute the money And the FTA isn't going to give vote off anybody until those agreements are signed and in place.
So are I here? Would she be able to shed some light?
Arlen, did you hear Pam's question?
A little bit, I heard it.
I can't hear.
Can you hear me now?
Hang on. Try it now.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, we, in the past, we were doing like pre-award authority. And FTA has told us that we cannot do pre-award authority anymore. So that is why the delay in the federal funds coming to us.
So it's actually coming from the feds, not necessarily from the state.
Correct.
Go ahead, Pamela.
What does that have to do with signing the contracts, executing the contracts between ODOT and the federal government?
We will
FTA.
execute, we will execute them on time. It's just getting the funds from FTA.
Thank you.
Thank you, Arla. Okay. Anything else on financials?
Okay, I'll just do it.
All right, one more. Go ahead, Pamela.
Okay, just, maybe I've never noticed this before, that the annual budget for property taxes is 1,300,000. So I looked, and I thought that I missed this last time. Apparently I did. So, how are you constructing that to make that amount? That's
It's a large amount,
Right.
and we get, most of that in November.
mhm.
And then throughout the year. So like we've already received some of our property taxes. And then they just continue to kind of come in throughout the whole year, but we get the lump sum of it in November.
Is Commissioner Alegria? So how is that determined, the amount? In other words, are there more employees?
The county determines, it's off of our property taxes that we pay for our homes.
Right,
And we get a certain percentage of that.
okay, so the county determines what you receive. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else? Mary, would you enter the financials into the minutes, please?
Yep.
Oh, are you gonna kill me? Yes, you are. I'll do it anyway. Okay, unless my math is off. The total income is 19,000, blah, blah. Total expenditures is $231,000. Did I read this correctly? So that means kind of $212,000 for this month overspent, whatever the word is.
We didn't overspend. We budgeted for the month to spend $298,522. And we only spent $231,811. So you'll see normally the months will go back and forth. So like November, I don't know what the numbers are off the top of my head, but we'll say we get $1 million in resources and we only spend $150,000. So it's going to juggle back and forth like that. We're not going to balance on a monthly because some months we receive more resources and some months we have more expenditures.
Commissioner Alegria. So how do we determine if we're in trouble on a month-to-month basis? If we're looking, things go up and down, when do we know we're in trouble or not?
You're going to look at our expenditures and our incomes throughout and see kind of how it goes. So we have budgeted things for each, we'll say, line item. Okay, and we want to stay within that budget. And then you'll look at personnel services and materials and services, we need to stay within budget of those expenditures for the year.
Mhm.
So if we're hitting, that's why we put the percentages on the end, so that you can see that's where we're at for year to date. So that tells you like personnel services. We've only spent like 21% of what our budget is for that. And our target right now is to be 25%. So we're within budget for that expenditure.
So what, real quickly, Commissioner Legge, so what I'm trying to ask is where do we really zoom in when we're looking at this month after month, so that, I'll just,
So you're good.
so that you're saying best indicator is checking each line item and how that's.
You're gonna look at our year-to-date percentages and where we're sitting
Okay.
there. That's my best indicator. It tells me, you know, where we're supposed to be on that. And you're gonna see some of our incomes right now, our resources are low. Part of that is because those things don't come in until later, like especially our property taxes. I had expected those to come in a little quicker. They didn't. They're still gonna come in, just not quite when I had expected it. Just like I had expected our reimbursements from first quarter to not hit, excuse me, until September. We got those in August. So our August numbers for resources look amazing. And our September numbers don't look so great.
And if you look at expenses, Greg Johnson, if you look at expenses, year to date, we're 25% of the way through this budget cycle. And right now, our total expenses, we're 15% that we've spent, so we're under budget.
Yeah, this, Paul, I was just gonna offer to Penny that I think I understand what you're looking for, and then in my interpretation, the cash flow projection will give you what you're after at a glance. It's in the packet. It tells you where we will end in each month and where we expect to end each month. And Kelly updates that every month. And the bottom line shows how much cash we have. And as long as we have that cash, we're okay. But that's what happened when we crashed before. We ran out of cash and the board didn't know it. Now you have one line on this report that shows how much is in the bank. And as long as it's enough to cover the next month, we're all right.
Commissioner Legge, the one thing I think I like both things, doing them together, because when you look at your resources and expenditures, you can see where you need to adjust something which you can't necessarily do with the cash flow, because it's sort of a black and white, more or less, figure.
The cash flow just kind of shows you where I expect us to be throughout the year. Or, you know, so I update it every month to show where we ended our previous month and then how I expect things to budget going forward. And that changes a little bit, and it'll change a little bit next year as we, you know, as we don't expect to get reimbursements quite as quickly. You know, so that'll reflect when it comes to that time. But that's a good, Paul's right, that's a good indicator as to where we're at.
And at the same time, we plan on, Greg Johnson, we plan on increasing our contingency next month once we get property taxes in. So we're gonna have, what, 800 something thousand?
500, it's 500,000, it goes into contingency next month, so we'll have.
900 something.
We're at almost that now, yeah. So we'll be that.
Just one more. So, Commissioner Legge, so I noticed that with the contingency fund, and we're trying to get buses. So is the contingency fund funding the buses, the match?
No, ma'am.
We
Local.
budgeted them.
Our local funds fund the match for those buses. That was in our budget.
So the local funds are where?
The local funds are like property tax.
No, I know what they are. So that amount, in other words, when we look at the amount of the local funding, that's a match.
Yes.
And that's, but is the local funding used for anything else other than the match or the buses?
It's used for other things within the district. We use it for payroll, we use it for purchasing items. We have a match always with 5310 and 5311, and so local funds get used for that too.
Thank you.
Okay. I have to go back to Paul, you're secretary treasurer now. Are you getting copies of the bank statements? I just heard not too long ago that Pam never received a copy of our bank statements like she was supposed to have. So, and that was something that we wanted to have done. So have you received copies of our bank statements to date?
Have not, but have been in touch with Kelly. And she assures me that I'll begin getting those as soon as everything levels out from the signature parts that we just went through. Is that correct?
Yes, I've been in contact with the bank, and I was in contact with the bank with Pam too, and I don't know what happened. I had been in contact with them a couple of times to get the statements to Pam. I've been in contact with them twice since all the signature cards were done, to get them sent to Paul. So I'm hoping, since I just got statements, and you haven't gotten those, I can reach out to them again. And I'm happy to make you copies of what I have if you would like them.
Well, that would be good, but I think we need to get them to comply with our request.
They will. And she said, her concern was that it's going to say SETD, and then it's going to have your address. And so she wanted to make sure, and I said that should be fine. They should deliver. It has the correct address.
Yeah, it needs to go that way.
It does.
Yeah.
And I'm working on it. I haven't given up on it.
If I don't see something by the end of next week, I'll give you a call.
You probably won't see anything by the end of next week.
Well, you just got the statements, right?
Just got them. I did but I've received them. I've reconciled. So being this far into the month, and then they'll cut again on the 31st. So I would say if you don't receive them by like the 10th to the 12th of November.
Okay. Would it do any good to call the bank and say we didn't get the September statements?
I can. I don't know that she had it set up for September.
But she could take copies and mail them to me. Yeah, I think I would appreciate it.
Yeah.
At least we can try.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea.
It's
And
an
that's,
important statement.
yeah, and we need to stay up on top of that. And I didn't know that Pam wasn't getting them until I think we redid the reorganization even, so. Okay. All right, well, I think we're done with financials. It is 10:30. And I want to make sure that we have enough time to take care of the OTA conference. So let's go ahead and do 10C
Right.
now.
Yeah, the OTA conference begins this Sunday and goes through next Wednesday. Me, Jennifer, and I believe Tracy are signed up for the OTA. They still have slots open if you're interested in going. It's going to have a lot of transit specific training in there, plus some legislative stuff. So if you're interested, let Mary know or me know that we just signed up.
Is there a cost to that?
$400
How many days is it?
Sunday through Wednesday.
All right, if anybody's interested, see Mary. Okay. Is that good?
That's good. I just want to be sure.
Okay, no, thank you. Okay, so now we'll go back to continued business number 9A. Board Policy Committee approval. Mary, you want to read your little statement you put in there?
Right,
Or do you want me to read it?
this one? No, I won't read it. So go ahead.
Has everybody read Mary's?
Yes.
I
Okay,
saw that.
all right. We'll just move right on to the
Thank
policies.
you.
There is a couple I wanted to mention. Hopefully you have all went through them and we can discuss, maybe we need a motion before we discuss it.
So I would move to adopt the policies and procedures.
B 808, B
808,
306,
306,
B 820,
820.
and a second.
Second.
Thank you, Rebecca. Okay. So B 808 was, I don't think we did a whole lot to that one. So that one's, we might have changed a little bit. B 306 is Board of Commissioners, Board Governance. Part of the things that we had issues with on that is if there's conflict of interest with enough board members where there isn't a quorum to vote. So Mary found, pass these around. Mary found these for us to help us understand. At the bottom of it where it says minimum votes exception.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
this is Rebecca. I think for the benefit of everybody else here that's was not on the board policy, let's make sure that we kind of err on the side of overkill a little bit to explain these.
Okay.
I forgot to ask you that earlier.
Okay.
But I think we could all benefit from a little preface on
these two.
Anecdotally, just say at the beginning what these are about, and
Okay.
then go from there.
Okay, so the board governance is how we act. Do you want me to just read them?
Yes, sure.
Board members shall express themselves in a manner that maintains personal decorum when acting in their capacity as a board member or when representing the district before the general public or district employees. Board members shall participate in board meetings and vote on district matters as part of the board. Board members individually have neither the power nor the authority to act as an agent of the district without a delegation of authority from the board. A board member's unauthorized action may result in personal liability for board member when such action costs the district money or damages a third party. Board members have the right of free speech, but must recognize the difference between the right to speak and the right to represent or appear to represent the board. Board members must disclose on the record any conflict of interest, either actual or potential, prior to consideration of the issue. This must occur each time the issue is brought before the board and must be reported in the minutes per ORS 65.351. And we have the attachment for that. Potential conflict. A board member may participate and vote unless participation would violate the Code of Ethics prohibition of use of office for financial gain. Actual conflict. A board member may not participate or vote. Quorum exception. A board member may vote where a quorum cannot be obtained without their participation. So that's the one that we had issues with. If a board member has stated that they are conflicted on an issue, but we do not have a quorum, that board member may vote. They may not participate in the discussion, but they may vote.
And if I may add.
Yes.
So this is Rebecca. This is in the case when there is time sensitive, the decision is time sensitive so that we have to move forward.
We can't put the vote off.
And
Or
it would be
another
very
meeting.
rare.
And I think especially with this group. Okay. And Mary she could go and find this for us. So we can add that as attachment A.
It's difficult to find. That is really, really difficult.
This was one that we did have a lot of discussion on.
Very glad.
And because of the minimum vote exception. So we just wanted to make sure that everybody was clear with that one. Okay,
Excellent. This is Commissioner McDonald. Excellent explanation.
thank you. Then the last one, B820, is actually a brand new policy that has basically come about because of our issues that we had almost 2 years ago. Board of Commissioners, board notification of delinquent funding. And I will go ahead and read that one because it is, I think, very important. And I want to also thank Mary for helping us so much with this one. And she's really good at policy writing. So Sunset Empire Transportation receives operational funding through county taxes, timber revenue, local payroll tax, and state and federal grants. SETD staff prepares an annual budget that documents the predicted operational costs and the total funding resources required that will be utilized to cover operational costs. The budget is approved by the Budget Committee and submitted for final approval by the SETD board, who must approve by June 30th for the continued operation of SETD. Each funding source has predicted dates of payment, which are factored into the budget and necessary for covering monthly operational costs. Grants may be dispensed by scheduled payments or may be paid as reimbursements to acceptable uses of grant funds, which are submitted by SETD staff per grant agreement. If there is a delay in receiving expected grant reimbursements, SETD may not receive needed funds to continue budget operations. And this is kind of where we go back to the new rules for FTA also. The SETD finance officer will immediately notify the executive director of any expected budget funding that is 30 days delinquent. The executive director will immediately notify SETD board of any expected budget funding that is 30 days delinquent. The executive director will continue weekly updates to the board about resolution of the delinquent funding and the status and plans for SETD's continued operations. Failure to report any 30-day funding delinquency to the board shall result in disciplinary action. So, almost 2 years ago, when I asked Jeff where our funding was, I was told, and at that time we were almost 120 days late on our reimbursements, not to worry about it, they were on the way.
And at that time, so prior to shutdown, sorry, this is Kelly, almost all of our reimbursements had been late. Like it was just I don't want to say normal, but that was just kind of how it was. Multiple times that I was reaching out to Arlen asking, when are we going to get them? When are they coming? So fortunately, at this moment in time, we're not having that. So, but that was pretty normal.
So hopefully with this policy, it will give the board notice when we are missing payments. And this is, I mean, we can't tell on timber revenue. This is more like our grant funding, that type of stuff.
But even timber revenue is fairly consistent as far as the payment coming in. I mean, I don't have the dollar amount, but it comes in on a quarterly basis. And I try really hard to budget that appropriately, in the correct month. And I'm not perfect, so it's not always exact, but I do try to make sure that those are budgeted for the right months so that we can see as that's coming through.
And a good example, sorry, Craig, a good example of that was last one, when we let you know that the FTA funding was most likely going to be delayed. So as soon as we know, we're going to pass it on. And that's the way it should be. So.
Okay. Any other questions about any of these, the last of our policies?
Good job.
Very sad must be, yes.
I still think we might have one.
Oh, I'm sorry, Charles.
Charles.
And the sign is 10.
What is that? Put it right here.
I like the duplication of notification, first of all. This is Charles and it's 10:45.
Okay.
I like the duplication of notifications because that we should hear something from one. Optimally, we should hear there's delays from two sources as opposed, and I like that, because if we had heard from someone else at all about this, we would have known in advance as opposed to finding out 2 weeks before we're gonna shut down next Friday. So I like to do a notification. When you say notify the board, let me notify the chair or notify each individual board member in as part of a sort of a general email notification.
Either or both. Since we meet almost monthly, we should be able to have it, but if something came up in between a meeting that we needed to know, it could go out in an email.
I think we should all find out. I guess my question is the notification of the board, does that mean the board being the board chair? Or does that mean notification of all the board members?
All the board.
Okay. Thank you.
Great. Those were the two that we really struggled with them. Okay, are you gonna take off?
Except I was gonna wait for
You want to vote? Okay. Let's do a roll call vote on this. Please, Mayor.
Wait. I'm buried. Here we go. Okay. Commissioner Bruce Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner McDonald,
Yes.
Commissioner Lewicki,
Yep.
Commissioner Legria,
Yes.
Commissioner Withers,
Yes.
Commissioner Reed,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
committee members. I know it was a lot of work,
Yes, it was a lot of work
but we did it in a year.
Thank you, Gary.
and we appreciate your efforts. You have it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on whoops,
Okay.
to,
Leave the furniture.
see you later, Chrissy.
Yeah, won't be Christmas tree around here anymore. God dang, because you'll lose your halo. All right.
Okay, nine B,
See you, son.
update on the 23 audit.
Yes, Craig Johnston. Paul was here last, Paul Nielsen with Eisner CP was here last month. He thought he could be done with the audit at this time and presented, but he's been delayed. So he is planning on making that presentation at the December 5th board meeting. In anticipation of that, ODOT has sent us a letter stating that we're out of compliance because we haven't done our audit yet. So I've included that letter in my response to ODOT as to a corrective action.
It's more informational that there's nothing we need to do about that.
That doesn't slow.
Personnel Policy Committee update. Charles, why can I not see you today?
That doesn't slow up any payments or anything. It's simply out of, that doesn't slow anything down.
No.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Charles. It was 10:49.
I'm not quite sure what C is. Uncompleted business.
Oh, personnel policy.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
And I was hoping Guillermo would be here. But I was gonna set up dates with Guillermo the next couple of weeks to get rolling on the review of the policies. I have all of your comments. If any other board members have reviewed them and they want to give me their comments, I can take them to the committee or give to Guillermo. And we'll get rolling.
Moving into number 10, new business, North Coast Shuttle Route. Do that one.
Yeah, can you put that one up on the board?
Shall not. Do I have it? Then you want me to go to the,
Should be in the board pack.
on the board pack? Okay, gotcha.
One and a half.
Page 47.
This one was.
Was that 1.5 funds?
Oh, and we can print it out.
Okay.
27, got it?
What page?
Page 27.
Page 27.
Too
I'm not able
tiny.
to read yours.
I can understand.
That's some tiny funds.
Yours is different.
All of them are different. Charles,
My funds.
We were having trouble with the printer. It's just crazy. It's just doing, it has a life of its own and just deciding to do
Is
whatever.
that like half font, Mary? One.
I'm really sorry.
one and two.
Well, you can see the main.
We're almost there.
Yeah, this map is.
There it is.
Okay.
This was there.
Oh, that's
Oh,
good.
look, that's good.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can really make it big.
It looks great on the screen.
Yeah,
And Jason can probably blow that up, can't you, Jason?
that's
All right,
great.
so, the Craig Johnston, this is the, Oregon Coast Visitors Association is, going to start a new route beginning next summer. The route's gonna go from Portland via 26 to, Cannon Beach, and it's gonna go up to all the way to Astoria. When they sent the proposal, we kind of reviewed it with Nawada, and we, as a group, thought that it was very duplicative of the services that we already provide to the community. So Arla reached out to them and tried to seek some collaboration so that maybe we could get a route going down Highway 30, since we no longer have a route going there, and meet up with them in Astoria, kind of work together to come up with a solution. But they weren't very amenable to that. So as a group, Nawada passed a resolution against this service. And hopefully they'll change their mind, but it doesn't look like it at this point. And I want to thank Arla for addressing that with this service. I just wanted to give you guys a tip. We're at there.
Pamela, I think you were first.
So I did some research on Oregon Coast Visitors Association. So they are the Oregon Tourism Committee, which is a 9-member board member appointed by the governor, governs the travel Oregon staff and its programs. The agency is funded by a 1.5% statewide transit lodging tax. The reason I looked this up is, okay, where did the funding come from this? Why don't the transit agencies have the funding for doing routes like this instead of some organization that just pops up? And I think from what I understand from the agencies, transit agencies, do a lot of traveling for tourists. But to talk about duplication, in my view and understanding, this really is duplication, and it's it's a slap in the face to other transit agencies. So I did this research. Who do you talk to? So in the end, it's the governor who appointed the 9-member board committee, which is called Oregon Tourism Commission, doing business as the travel Oregon. Nothing is simple in government, but just to find out where the money is, who has the power to say yes or no. And I think that you need to I would suggest making a pitch to the governor that there's a tight money as it is for transit in general, and then to come up with this to take away customers from other existing transit agencies. That's what I have to say. that can be recorded.
No, thank you, Pam. And it's, after their response, Arla is working on getting it elevated within ODOT, so they can address it more directly.
Rebecca?
This is Rebecca. Yeah, I echo what Pam has to say about this. This really bothers me. I feel that, with Travel Oregon and then this, Governor's Oregon Tourism Commission, and, the monies that go into, the tourism dollars, either statewide and locally, I feel is a terrible lack of coordination. And the redundancy is costly to us. I mean, it's whatever we can do to make a big voice, and I would say coalesce with maybe our tri-county, because we are kind of a unit with Tillamook, Clatsop, and Columbia. And, we are definitely on that destination route. And it makes no sense for us to not be coordinated. It really bothers me.
Yeah, and what would be really nice if they would go down Highway 30 and come to the transit center here. They have a lot of funds for marketing that, we can combine together and market services. And they have for some.
Go ahead, Pamela. Oh, wait, Charles first. Charles first.
So I need to change my Charles at 10:56. So I get the part from Portland to Cannon Beach on 26. That's only really covered by points, and it's twice a day. So I get that part. So I'd be okay with them coming from Portland and making sort of a split out with us at Cannon Beach on the Pacific route, right? That's the one to go from
The connector.
the connector. I see that part because literally from 26 from Portland to Cannon Beach, there's only really one option, that's point. And so Arla, if you hear me, or we can say anything, I think the thing we're going to do is come out 26 to Cannon Beach, you have a parking lot, let people out, and then you put it, you time it with the precision connector, and then get all that covered, both north from Cannon Beach and south from Cannon Beach. But they come up and tell them. So I think that's a better option. I don't argue that part of the run, but I'm sorry. That's it.
Pamela?
Commissioner Alegria, I'm really against this because I think all the existing transit agency can work with this. And the 30% of jurisdiction's budget goes to tourism. And I don't know if we've ever received any of it. And here is 1.5% state transit lodging tax. So we've had a lot of money going into tourism. And here, this could help local customers as well as tourism, besides just doing tourism. And I think it should be definitely, I oppose this North Coast shuttle because it's a duplication and you can work out. We have a lot of experience and connections, even though some of the loops are not quite operating at full capacity. So I strongly recommend that Tillamook and Sunset, in addition to other counties, write against this to the governor.
This is Debbie, the chairperson. When I was looking at this map and a little bit more of it, they leave off everything down the gorge. There is not a bus that goes from Astoria to Portland on Highway 30. There is not a bus on the map that they had from Portland to Eastern Oregon to Pendleton. To get to Pendleton, you have to go down through Bend and then back up.
The point.
So this,
I thought the point went all the way to Pendleton.
No.
It does.
so that whole gorge area, that whole I-5 corridor, there is what I could see.
You mean I-84 corridor?
84, yes, I'm sorry. there's nothing, and that would be, because there's a lot of history on that. And it's a really pretty place. So that's where I would say they need to look into it. Rebecca.
This is Rebecca. So I guess I'm asking Craig or anybody that's following this pretty closely, is it, what's your feel for this? Is that how, I mean, is this a runaway bus or, this project, or do we really have an opportunity? And I'll ask Garland too, to affect change. I mean, to be a partner in this.
Well, I think that's why Arla is elevating it with the ODOT, so that we can try to affect some change. But so far, we haven't.
Pamela?
Another concern is there's a shortage of bus drivers nationally, locally, county, and then you add another transit, like I don't consider them transit, sort of tourist stuff, taken away perhaps from existing drivers if they have a higher salary. Because what I found interesting, took the north of the point the other day, someone didn't show up, a bus driver didn't show up, so they used a charter bus driver who normally does some tourism jobs. And that's a serious problem. I mean, private is offering bonuses. If I knew how to, if I could see, I might go there.
Charles.
I know we don't want to kick this to Charles at 11:02. We don't want to kick this too much. Well, appreciate all of work to get this elevated in scope. Because, I mean, as Rebecca says, is this a runaway bus? Is it already a done deal, or are they still in the planning stages?
I think they plan was next year, next
So
summer.
it's still the planning, kind of still the planning stages.
I think they're
Done deal.
Yeah, I think they're wanting to go over.
So maybe, what would a letter to the governor do?
Oh, we can try.
Can't hurt.
Doesn't hurt. Yes.
So could the board ask Craig
Yeah.
to write a letter?
Then we all sign.
And
And then we should do a vote, I'm thinking, against the service as it currently stands.
Okay.
That would be nice.
I'll make a motion that we are opposed to this going forward.
Second?
All in favor? Aye.
You do roll call,
Okay,
since you're gonna write a letter, since it's. Okay, this would be on approving.
Charles.
I was gonna hear from Paul.
Okay. Paul?
Yeah, I understand what everybody's saying here, and resources are what they are. My perspective is that the district is doing a marvelous job getting back on its feet right now. Everybody's working hard together. We have adequate funding. I think that this battle is no doubt bad, or maybe a no lot bad. But I think beyond the scope of what this board should spend any energy on, what do we care if another entity that is appointed by the governor and is doing their own thing and is not impacting on funding? What do we care if they bring us more riders and more money into our economy as tourists? There is a separate current of marketing for tourism, and we're not part of that. We're public transportation for our service district. If the board wants to write a letter, that's fine. I want you to write a letter, that's fine. But my input here is let's focus on what we're doing and let's continue to fortify what we're good at and what we're here to do. This is a battle for somebody else. That's my.
Rebecca?
I agree with you, Paul, that we should not be, our focus needs to be on our issues. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I do not want us to get waylaid, absolutely. But this does have an intersect with us. And if there's something we can do, you know, without any heavy lifting that will express our voice and, you know, our concerns, and that we have a great advocate in Arla, you know, I still think that there's merit in voicing our concern about it. And this is out of the purview of the board, I will admit, but tourism, you know, I mean, we're all heavily affected by tourism and tourism dollars, to the impact of tourism. There's a heck of a lot of money coming in now for tourism. And, you know, those are monies that, you know, could affect and benefit our community. So I guess I'm saying, yes, we can't derail ourselves with, you know, working on this. We're going to hope that people are going to think this through, and maybe other, you know, people in the community need to perk up and see this. There needs, you know, a lot of people are not happy with the tourism bureau in this state that live here. So I hear what you're saying, but I do think it does have some merit for us. Thank you. Pamela?
I think it will, I understand what Paul is saying. I think it will affect our sunset, perhaps not today, but in the future. And so if we don't address it now, there's nothing we can do later on. And I think it will hurt in terms of, we have tourists, and it, you know, it also could include local people. And this is what upsets me also in terms of its proposal, and take resources from the local transit agencies. Thank you.
Anything else?
One last itty-bitty thing.
Sure, go ahead,
Kick this too much. Charles. Sometime. Also, maybe the option then is they do signage on their buses, because their bus is gonna be a specific time. People may get in Cannon Beach, wanna go to Manzanita, and the bus is going to Astoria. Or it's specific, maybe on the other side of the street heading to Manzanita, and the times work out to where I would like to see some incorporate, if they, I don't have to look at say, if they think about that, because their timing may not be the same, but we may pick up extra riders on our bus, on our Pacific Connector, because their bus just covered, folks may get off in Cannon Beach and think they want to go to Manzanita, and the bus is going to Astoria, whereas in these Tuna bus on the other side of the street going south. So if they could coordinate, at the least, just coordinate or make available to the riders, the Pacific Connector is an option when you get there. Or when you stop in Warrenton, they don't want to go on that story. So like, you know, the 15 bus can take them to the big box area. So something like that, coordinated with them with scheduling, can help us as well. If that's at a minimum, I'd like that. This should be signed maybe.
Right. They should be coordinated with local buses.
That's at a minimum. That's it.
All right.
But
Okay. Paul calls the question. Mary,
Okay, here we go. Commissioner Bruce Smith,
I'm for writing a letter.
Commissioner McDonald, Commissioner Lewicki,
No,
Commissioner Legria,
For the letter.
Commissioner Withers,
for the letter with the caveat of suggesting it needs that we work with them on signage or something. Or some participation.
all you get is yes or no.
Yeah,
I know that's going to be hard
Yeah,
for
I don't
everybody.
know what to-
yes, yes, because it'll come down to that anyway. It's
Commissioner
probably-
Reed,
they're not gonna-
yes to the letter.
Okay,
they're gonna-
motion passes.
Thank you, Mary.
How about an appeal? Everybody appeals. I'm taking this to a higher court.
Okay, all right, let's move on to DC security update.
DC
That's transit.
Center, oh,
That's the transit center here. We plan on having, just to give you an update, we have the sheriff coming in to do an evaluation with PC and update our emergency plans. To make sure we can keep the building safe and get any recommendations from them moving forward.
Okay, see.
Pamela,
If I may, just, there's no one here when you take a bus at night here. And this area is devoted to open businesses for the most part. So it's something to address if, lack of,
You mean after hours, after we close?
yeah.
No,
or
this
can't
is
do that.
this is mainly during our operating
Oh,
hours,
okay.
having people come in that we have mental illness that are that we're doing.
Thank you.
hey. Number 10, new business. Number D, approval of HR answers invoice for payment.
All right, as part of our financial policies, we have exceeded the $10,000 threshold and are requesting board approval to pay HR answers for services rendered. HR Answers has recommended several training courses that have been conducted and attended by managers and staff. Approximately a dozen staff have reported over 150 training hours in the last month. And this I addressed last month as a positive step to move the organization forward in a collaborative.
I move to approve the request.
So,
Any discussion? Pamela?
This is a tentative. Yes, I'm a little, I am concerned about 17 sessions. And I'm not sure, I know I have respected the division board responsibility versus and employees, but I am concerned about what this all means. I mean, I understand to smooth things out, but since we didn't know what was transpiring in the previous administration, so to speak, I am concerned what is going on here that you need 17 sessions.
Well, we had a lot of trauma within the organization. I addressed this last work, and we're dealing with it at a. The trainings are for collaboration, communication. And we also have other services that are coming in specifically to deal with certain traumas that have occurred at the shutdown. We had a gentleman come into the TC with a tomahawk axe and threatened to kill people. So we've had some significant incidents that have occurred.
this is for employee relations and employee well-being.
Correct.
And I think this is Debbie from Chair. I think the previous director was not keeping up with a lot of the trainings and such that needed to be done. And because of the shutdown, there's a lot of the stuff that has come back, but there's still past residue, things that happened during that administrative that the board didn't know about, that some of the staff is still dealing with. So, Rebecca?
Thank you. After, hearing Craig and Debbie, I wanted to make sure that, because I had heard that and I wanted to make sure that you had expressed that. Thank you for expressing that. I think that's, sometimes, I don't think the board is directly, we're not directly involved in employee trainings and that sort of thing. That's not our purview. But it makes a lot of sense that this training and services are needed. So I'm glad we're addressing this.
Yeah, you need to look at it. It's like an investment in our people. I mean, so many of them went through so much with all of these incidents. that occurred, the shutdown specifically. They stuck with us, they came back, they got the services started. It's nice now to kind of work with them and invest in them.
Absolutely. Can I also say something else that I've kind of been watching? And I know we're, still kind of skeleton bones. But how many drivers, since they've come back, the ones that have come back, have actually left? And I know we have one going now, but remember the turnover we had with Jeff? Remember how many bus drivers we had that were turning over in that time? I'm not seeing that right now. So there's got to be something that's going on that's good. And I just think these trainings will also help that. We're really having a hard time retaining employees before. Charles.
Charles, 1116. I like this. I like the neutral set of eyes. HR, what do they call it? Answers are a neutral set of eyes. They don't work for a transit district, they're not on the board. They just give us basically neutral eyes, and they give us established. If there's a problem, they probably dealt with it, so they can give us answers that we may not know. I don't know what to do if a guy shows up with an axe and wants to kill Kelly. I would probably try to hold him down, but it's not all I know. But they've dealt with a lot of things, so I think I like having the neutral eyes, and I think it's not that much money to pay that to have those eyes. So on our operation, particularly this, so the phase where we seem to be coming out of all this and having those like extra eyes. Oh, I'm sorry.
Anybody else? Mary, you want to take a roll call vote?
Yeah. Commissioner Busman,
Yes.
Commissioner McDonald, oh darn it, Commissioner Loki,
Yes.
Commissioner Labria.
Yeah.
Commissioner Withers,
Yes.
Commissioner Reed.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Paul.
It's been our practice for the last 10 years or so on these cover members in the board pack. Yeah, and I'm looking at the HR answers one, and I'm looking at the this one doesn't have the subject, but it's the audit. And we're kind of accustomed to a little blurb as to what the matter is. And the end of the memo has always been staff recommendation, or it's been what's expected of the board to do after we. So we've seen these in our board packet, and I mean, we can figure out that we want us to approve the $10,000 threshold. But I guess I'm asking if we can't consider going back to a line at the bottom that says staff is recommending approval, or no board action required, or something, so that we don't get a bit of it now and then have to wait to the meeting and do the discussion and find out what we're talking.
That makes sense.
Your recommendation to us is what we're acting on. I don't think that we're in a position really to go into the weeds on the $10,000. You need to tell us this is what you recommend that we approve this. There can still be questions in it. But that gives us the week after we get the packet to know what you're asking us to do and to think about it and be more prepared to engage here.
And that's part of my experience, but that's a great suggestion.
Okay,
I'll start there.
Thank you, Paul. Number 11, correspondence. Do we have any correspondence? Nope.
At this time.
Okay, then we'll move on to the executive director's report, number 11 on the agenda.
Me again?
You again.
Great here. All right. So this is the monthly report. We got some good news. We got our 4 paratransit buses on order with Northwest bus sales. We're still hoping for March, hopefully March, April to get those in. Those will be a huge help. The grant for the two Class C buses, the SNF discretionary grant was presented to the Northwest Act by ARLA for consideration. Our grant totals $425,000. Statewide, there were $91 million worth of applications submitted, and there's only a total of $25 million available. But you could make an argument our need is pretty significant, and it's just a basic requisite to running transit. So hopefully we give it some consideration. All right, improving the organization, the trainings that we've had with HR Answers to facilitate better communications. We had repairs done to the concrete by Terra Firma on 10/15. And those are the ones they did some sidewalk work for us the year previous. And then they came back and redid the work that was kind of subpar.
So that's transit.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that was good. All right, the TC billboard maintenance is scheduled for inspection by Lamar. And I got an interesting phone call yesterday from them. They're wanting us to consider a digital billboard on top of it.
Oh,
Yes.
Wait a minute, is that an opportunity to renegotiate?
yeah.
That's where it gets interesting. Which brings thing. You know, he kind of held over our heads that we have only 13 more years to go on this agreement.
Like it, it's unbelievable.
But he said they had just recently upgraded down in Seaside at the Bellboy.
And it is ugly.
Yes. His caveat was we get like 20% of sales. They only give us 20%. I mean, if you look online, they charge like $5,000, I think, for their advertising, and they're only sending us what, $1,200 a year. I mean, 100 a month. So you know, so, just something to consider. You know, they're obligated to maintain what's up there.
That's where I'm coming.
Yeah.
They don't.
Because I have a feeling right now, if an engineer were to look at it, he'd have some issues with it, but they have promised they will be out to inspect it.
Well, are they asking if the district will give them permission to upgrade that?
Yes.
And
The same.
can we just say, no, we won't unless we renegotiate the financials?
And they're willing to do that, but not as what you're expecting. Only 20%.
Then we say no. Yeah. Let's go with that, and I might even consider calling an inspector and take a look at the.
Maybe we could just have a whole thing, which would be
Get
nice.
some of the whatever it is up there, moss or whatever.
Moss killer.
Yeah, how about that?
It just seems like we have some leverage now that we haven't had and won't have again, and I would certainly hope we don't cave.
Oh, absolutely not. No, my goal would be to get the sign off.
Yeah.
And it's not very appealing. All right, so that's an update on that. We have duct cleaning scheduled for here at the TC. Apparently it hasn't been done in a while, huh, Mary? So hopefully we'll have better air circulation in here. The outside lights have been upgraded at Warrenton office.
Good news.
Could it
Yeah.
get worse?
Uh,
Pretty dark back there. Yeah.
Yes, and in the morning.
Greg, this is Rebecca. We've had a problem in the past with the, heating and air conditioning or whatever here in this building. Is that part of, your plans for?
Yeah,
Maintenance and upgrading?
we've had them serviced twice in the last 9 months, actually. They seem to be working pretty well. We have all,
This thermostat is working now.
yeah,
The
we have
new
all
one.
new thermostats.
New
Oh,
thermostats.
good. Thank you.
But it just takes a while to get caught up on this. It was neglected for years. We also have the carpets cleaned for the first time.
In a lot of years. You must,
Better.
yeah.
So we're working. Leading people The Nawada meeting on 10/11, we discussed the new service proposal by Oregon Coast Visitors Association. You guys have been updated on it. Our website live bus feeds are still in the works, taking a little longer than expected, but traffic is up 36% in the months of September on our website. They now have our GTFS information to integrate with the website. So they're working on coming up with that where you can pull it up, see where all the buses are. So it's in progress. Also, as part of Nawada, we're doing a clean bus project, a study of the 5 linked transit agencies here, how to go to zero or low emissions vehicles. And we're meeting with them on the 31st, the group that's going to be doing the study, and they'll give us a better idea of maybe which organization of Nawada should be the first to jump into the low no emissions, and which organizations it's feasible for and which aren't feasible. All right, we're kind of disappointed with service delivery and operations last month. We had a decrease of 9%. And I asked Paul, discovered this, if this was like a seasonal thing, and he said he didn't think about this. So I'm kind of monitoring it this month, and it looks like it's headed right back up to where it was. So I don't know if this is just an aberration or what, but we'll continue to monitor. It could just be a blip. All right, looking at the ridership numbers. Our total fixed route ridership went down to 8,500. Next slide. And paratransit stayed relatively the same. And it looks like we went down on the 101 about 600. We're about 1,000 less than we were the month before. We lost about 600 of them on the 101. Route 10 on Astoria was a little down. And Route 15 in Warrenton keeps plugging along. Kind of interesting how, that first month in May, we all went 368, and it's pretty much been consistent with the high fives, those 600s.
Definitely 10.
That's for the 15. And then the Route 20, Cannon Beach. I don't know if that's, we lost about 150 people there. Probably.
That's gotta be 2.
That's what I would think.
Yeah.
Gotta be 2. So Charles, that's gotta be 3. What happens in Cannon Beach, you guys all know this, is if there's the summer flower, and then right around Labor Day, when kids go back to school, it drops off. And then what happens after that, folks who don't want to be around a bunch of kids and stuff come back. And so the tourism picks back up, but right around the October, and then goes to only the people show up then, the people want to like vacationing in the rain. But there is a drop off right at the Labor Day. Kids go back to school and all that. It does. It drops off. Just about a week or so, and then drops back up.
Start projects. And the Pacific Connector, we actually saw an increase there from August to September. I think that's about the only route.
It might be helpful to point out that the connector is only 2 days a week.
Right.
That's, the other numbers are based against 5 days. So that's pretty healthy, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions for Frank? Charles?
The Pacific Connector ridership based on every time someone goes in the bus store, not when you get on a ride to some point. So you get on it, even if it's one stop from transit.
Yeah, it's counted.
And this is Paul. I might suggest that the drivers be surveyed to find out what they feel is driving a decrease in ridership, because They know the regular riders. They know who are the tourists. Tourists talk to them. I think they may have a good front
Good idea.
line sense of why it's down.
Mhm.
Jennifer's not here
Jennifer's on vacation.
on vacation. If there's any questions, maybe Craig or Jason could answer on her report. Okay, Mary, yours would be next.
Okay. Very excited about getting the carpets cleaned here. It was one of the fun things, just the little things. And basically just trying to make sure that our shelters have information in them. Because I was receiving quite a few phone calls, especially from the Cannon Beach shelter. I must have received like 5 phone calls from riders in there confused about where the Tillamook bus was and what side of the street they need to be on, because the Tillamook bus comes and pulls in front of the shelter and then does go the opposite way. But a man missed that bus because he'd gone across the street. And so he was wondering how the bus could go the other direction so it's going. But anyway, a lot of communication between people in the shelters in the last month or so. And other than that, looking forward, Veterans Day is coming up, so make sure and do some outreach on Veterans Day to our veterans, and how wonderful we have that the veterans in our military can ride free. Another wonderful thing. And it's about is working on some other projects that are coming up, hopefully, and still looking. We talked with a company that makes logos, and Greg and I had a meeting and we haven't heard back from them. They're working on that, and so kind of need to have that in place before we look at a mural, because we want to incorporate our new logo probably in a mural. But I have 3 different muralists, specifically the one that is doing the mural at the armory.
Ooh.
He's on this, yeah, my daughter's on that board and helped select the mural. And so she knows him quite well at this point, because he's been up there several times. And she really likes working with him. So we can get him, that would, I think, really be great. He becomes Holly, has a long history of doing murals. Anyway, that's another dream in the future, so.
But wouldn't that be great if we get the billboard down?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Tree.
Yeah,
You down.
Yeah, I think that getting this building painted, are we gonna paint this building too?
sure.
Sorry, it is maybe not the right time
No,
to ask,
no, you can, I would, yes, that would be a really good thing to do. What a good
And I
idea.
think all we had planned for this year is just do it for mural. I think that was our plans, but yeah, definitely that's something that would need to be done.
it's been a long time, and the little trim around the top looks pretty bad.
Yeah.
That's it.
Thank you, Mary.
Thanks, Mary.
I don't have anything for Paul or Sue in my packet, but I'm sorry, not Paul, Jason.
Jason is.
If there's a name to be mixed up with, it's good to be Paul.
Big brother.
Well, thank you, board, very much for everything you guys do. I appreciate being a part of these meetings. And I would like to just kind of touch on the lights over at the yard. It is amazing. Been there for so long, and it's amazing what good lighting does in that area. And granted, I'm not working on buses or not. I do a lot. Go out, and if I'm working on a travel trailer or something, I'm out there looking at those buses. But just even arriving in the pitch darkness and just seeing there this morning, like it felt like it was more like 10 or 11 o'clock. It just feels good, looks good, and you feel very safe there. So it's good. So my September kind of was much to have to do with working with the local schools. I had a couple of transit engagements there that Jonathan and I worked on. We took a bus out and helped some teens and individuals with disabilities, and that was a lot of fun. We are getting a lot of engagement from the teachers, more than we have before in the past. So it is really, really good to get out there and do that. We just recently had one here October that I'll be reporting on a little later. So it's just a lot of fun doing that. The mobility assistant position, as you know, he was hired part-time now. He's outside, he's no longer an intern. And it's really neat to be able to continue to define that role, continue to find areas where he can help and be present for individuals needing assistance. Let's see here. We did complete 5 route surveys in last month, the 101, the 10, the 15, and the 20. And we are finding that, at least in our expectations, we haven't pulled anybody, but there are individuals that are right there. That's more than what we've worked on or that we have seen that are boarding the bus because the weather's getting back, worse and stuff. We specifically did talk to an individual who was 65 and older, who said that he doesn't drive during the winter because he doesn't feel he's very good, and he's appreciative of the fact that we have a service here and stuff. And now, right? Yeah. So let's see here. I travel trained 4 individuals, and let's see, all of them were over the age of 55, and 2 of them had very, very extreme mobility challenges, but they got around really well. So it's exciting to see that. My mother is recently losing her mobility, so I get a unique opportunity to work with her and try to help her out with that too. So it's pretty cool. And then let's see here. Just continue to just ensure that local agencies have our schedules and ensure that, especially like the college, we want to really work with the college because by working with them, not only do we travel train or educate them about our services and so forth, but I really believe that's where there are more drivers in the future and stuff. So when we go to the college and work up there or whatever we're doing, we always, hey, come drive the bus. So there's a national shortage of drivers, and we want to try to hopefully mitigate that in the next few years. So if you have any questions, I'm here. Yes, ma'am.
This is Rebecca. What do we, I can't remember, do we have discounts or free rides for college students? I can't remember if we have any
free rides
incentives
to
for them.
students. So I do believe we have under the age of 18. 18 is kind of the cutoff point. So it is rather difficult to get that from an individual. And I'm not aware of any problems that we have had with individuals getting on that the drivers have had to determine whether or not they are 18 or under. So when they say they're students, we are letting them on the bus. So I would imagine that is.
We have ticket bank. They have many.
Yeah, I do have a ticket
They
bank,
have
right?
we have a ticket bank. They applied for 100 tickets to have day passes that they can distribute from their office. So if someone needs a ticket, they have them.
At the college.
Yes, and it's I don't know how they advertise it, but
100 tickets a month, or
no, the last time they ordered them, they had 100 day passes that they got. So they have them in stock. But that was.
so we
Probably
need
last
run out. I mean, it's
Yes.
something that we can always provide.
Yes.
So in essence,
Yes.
we
Yes.
can provide free rides for Clatsop Community College
Yes.
students.
They were they're
Well, Mary's talking, they don't actually do any advertising with that because it's my understanding is when they have their counselors and so forth that speak with students, they kind of work with them through that. So yeah, that does help.
there's
Thanks, Jason.
more than one department that knows they have them.
Yes, more than
Yes.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
Yes,
I mean, your report in my packet.
yes, I've been really busy with HRMs the last 3 months. Mostly with trainings and things like that, and with Kathy, setting up our session with them. The board will be invited to come to our, session. It's on November 12th. I'll be sending out a flyer here soon, regarding them coming and doing some work with our staff and the board on trauma training. They're just, they will also set up one-on-ones with anyone who would like to meet for a one-on-one half-an-hour session while they're here. Yeah, and so Ron is leaving, and that's not a good thing. We do have two temporary drivers. Marla McEwen came back, and then Matt Pickett has expressed an interest in coming back. So I did post a job posted yesterday, and so we're looking for a driver. I'll be interested to see what I get from Indeed. That's where I usually get my people from. So we're getting to be pretty, bare bones with drivers. And, but I think one of the things about retention, Debbie, is that, we have such great employees coming back. Everybody is just really happy to be back and are very dedicated to their jobs. And yeah, so it's been wonderful. That's all how to report. I went on vacation. I went to Mexico. Ixtapan de La Sal. It's a hotel resort for a week, so I need it.
All right, thank you. If there's nothing else,
I just wanted to thank operations for, putting the trash can at the shelters on the status report. And apparently you guys are working on getting it.
They are, yeah.
So that's important to me. And I'm sure to the rest of the board.
Absolutely.
all right, we are adjourned.
Yeah.